Since I'm gonna talk about fundamentals today, so let's see if everyone is familiar with fundamentals. I'll be waiting for a few minutes for others to join. Okay guys, we'll be waiting a few more minutes for people to join, and then we'll be talking about news and maybe some other stuff. Hello guys, welcome. Can you hear me? Say something if you can hear me. Hey guys. Okay, we'll wait just a bit longer. Hey Neem. Has trading been good today? Do you only paper trade? Yeah, demo trade? Okay guys, I hope everyone can hear me. So let's start. I don't know how many will be joining. Really? The live account? Okay, I see. Yeah, have to be careful when you trade your live account. Use money management and don't take too many trades. You only get a couple good trades per day, really, that are secure. And you want to be demo trading for a while before you go live. Okay, I hope everyone can hear me, and I don't know if you can find the chat here on YouTube. You can write, there's a chat You can type me anything, any questions. So ask your questions there, please. Alright, so first thing I would want to talk about is something about news. Someone in the chat asked me about news. How does the news affect? Should they be worried about news every day, or how should they approach news trading? So let's take a look at my source of news, which is, hope you can see it. This is Forex Factory. So I would always go here to check the news. So first thing you want to do is to set your clock. So go here, choose whichever time that suits your area, and after that you go to filter, and you want to choose what kind of news you want to see. So I will remove these two, and you only care about the news that affects the pairs that you trade. So for example, if you're trading Euro USD, you want to check Euro and USD. Those are the only ones you want to know about. And as you can see today, there was some news earlier, and there is another news coming in about a couple hours from now. So that's what you want to look at. And if you hover your mouse above the impact here, you will see it says high impact. The high impact and the orange ones. Let's see if we have any from last week. There you go. Here you have medium impact and high impact. So those are the things you want to keep in mind, and check the details before you trade. So even though you're not trading the news itself, right? Even though you're not trading the news, you should always look here on Forex Factory, because it will change the way the prices will move on the charts. So it might go against the things that your strategy are telling you. So check the news, and if there's news, avoid trading. Some people ask me how much should I avoid my trading. Is it half an hour or 1 hour? I actually wrote an article about this. It hasn't been released yet, but it explains about 4 or 5 rules. I think I have 4 rules you should follow before you enter a trade after news, and I'll talk about that more once the article is out, and we will take a look at it together. But for now, if you're beginners, just learn your technicals first, and you can do the news trading later. We will go through news trading later once you get better at the technicals. But what you should know, what I was asked was that do I need to look at other currencies, like currency correlation? And the thing about currency correlation is that when two currency pairs both include one of the same assets, for example Euro USD and GBP USD, they both include US dollar, right? So news is going to affect both of those pairs. But if you're trading Euro USD, you want to check the news for US dollar and euro, not the British pound, because it doesn't matter. It's the US dollar that is the common currency for the both of them. So that's what you want to check. I hope that's clear, and you can ask me any questions about this. We will go through news trading later. It's a bit too early to do news trading if you're still learning your technical analysis. So what you should do, don't trade half an hour before and up to an hour for now, until I will tell you exactly how to understand when you can trade again once the news has been released and after the news. So that's that. Let's move on. I had some more requests about other stuff. About trends again and indicators. So I guess we can take a look at that. So if you have any wishes, you can type in the chat right now. Any questions, anything you would really want to know, it would be the perfect time to ask. We can ask later, of course, but okay, so no questions, then let's move on. I had some questions regarding stochastic, the stochastic oscillator. I think it's time we explained it. So let's make it bigger. And as you can see, this is the standard settings, 533, right? Let me show you the levels here. To the right, you see it's 80 for overbought, 20 down here for oversold. So what does this mean? Does anyone know what overbought and oversold means? Okay, so overbought is when the asset has been bought, right? So price has moved up, and then it makes a lower high or higher low, and the sellers enter the market. And oversold, it means the prices has been sold, so now they're oversold because now the buyers enter and push the price up. So either a lower oversold area, lower low, or a higher oversold area, as in an uptrend. So the stochastic tells you a few things. First of all, it tells you about the trend, except the overbought and oversold area as to where to enter the trade. It does also tell you if price is trending down or up, because if you look at, let's draw a trend line here. Okay, so if you would look at these tops that touch the line, you would see that the first one, the first touch is what? It's an overbought area on the stochastic, and the next one here that touched was also an overbought area, and again here overbought, and here also overbought. So what does this tell you? It tells you that the price is trending down because the stochastic is getting overbought at lower and lower and lower price levels. So that's something the stochastic oscillator teaches us. The same goes for an uptrend. Let's find a clear uptrend here. This isn't bad. Here you will see you had an oversold area up here while the previous one was down here below the EMAs. So again, you see the price is trending up, and here you go again, you have oversold area, almost oversold, but it touched here and kept going up. Then we had a drop below the EMAs, but then it continued up again. So the stochastic tells us about trends, about price stepping down or stepping up. So in this area, for example, here you see that this area is getting overbought at a higher level than the previous ones, which tells you to be careful when these candles started to rush up here and touch this resistance lines that I had drawn here. So if you take a look at this line here, and you saw these candles coming up today, you would have been careful, because you would see that, hey, price isn't overbought and it's getting above the top that was before here, further down below, and it was overbought here. So you would be careful, you would wait for it to come up and do not enter production. So any other questions about stochastic? That's basically it about stochastic. You don't need to know that much more. I used to get all confused about these two lines, which one is the K and which one is the D, and how they cross each other, and to be honest, I don't pay attention to those. I just care about overbought, oversold positions. And once you have used them for a while, you will start learning, you will anticipate them getting overbought or oversold, because you will see the candle movements and you will know whether it's going to be overbought or oversold before it even happens, due to candle movements. So I see a question about moving average, the moving averages. Okay, we can talk about them, of course. Okay, one more question about stochastic before we move on. When price changes direction before getting overbought or oversold, does that mean a new surge of buyers and sellers? Yes, obviously you should look at the candles first. So we always look at the candles first. And what do they tell us? So as you can see here at this level on the candlesticks, right below the resistance line here. So what do you see there? Again, you see that right before, right to the left here, the prices were overbought, right? The candles made a lower high and the stochastic was overbought, okay? And then what happens, you look at the candles and you see that, hey, suddenly they're moving up, and the prices didn't even get oversold and they're moving up. So yes, apparently there were more buyers in the market pushing the price up. So the moving averages. The moving averages, there's really not much to know here. Only thing you need to know is that it's always good to have a high level moving average and a lower one. You don't want to have too many moving averages, and you don't certainly want to have moving averages that are low levels. Some people use level 3, 4, 10, 11. I don't like those, because basically what they're telling you is the exact same thing that the candlesticks are telling you right when they start to move. So you don't want to use low level moving averages. It's kind of useless, because you already can see what's happening thanks to the candles. What you need is the high level moving averages, like EMA 200, the blue one here. This is an EMA 200, EMA exponential moving average, and the other one I like to use it's a smoothed moving average level 50, which is actually the same thing as an EMA level 99. So it's kind of same thing as an EMA but level 99. So 200 and EMA 99, or smoothed moving average level 50. So how do you use them? Well, basically they tell you about the trend. They're based on candles. So these lines, they calculate how, like the 200 EMA will calculate how many of these 200 candles have been in a downtrend or an uptrend. So for example, let's look at the 4-hour time frame. And here you will see the price has been in indecision, right? Because there isn't not a clear trend here. You see that half of the price was below the EMAs, the other half was above. It's kind of an oscillating, ranging market between these areas here. So not really a trend. But let's go further back to see a more clear trend here. This is perfect. If we go back, there you go. Now you have a clear trend, because the more distance between those candlesticks, those lower highs or higher lows for that matter, the more distance between them and the EMAs, the stronger the trend is, right? If you go back again and see here the trend to the right, you see the price crosses below and then comes above the EMA a few times, so it's not really as strong as when you go to the left again. You see how price is really clearly in a downtrend. So this is how you use the EMAs. They will also, the distance also tells you about the strength of the trend. The distance between the EMAs among them, and the distance between the EMAs and the candlesticks. So two distances there. They both tell you about the strength of the trend. So how do you use them more specifically? Well, how I use them is that I look for, as soon as I see that the higher time frames are below these moving averages, I keep scrolling down and I keep looking at areas where price is stepping down. For example, now we're talking about a bearish market, right? Because prices are below the EMAs, so you want to obviously look for lower highs. And when price is coming up to make one of these highs for you to enter on, why do we wait for those highs, by the way? Can someone tell me why we use for those highs? Why don't we just enter anywhere on the charts? Why do we in a downtrend wait for lower highs, and why do we in an uptrend wait for higher lows? Anyone has any ideas? Okay, that's because of what we talked about before, about the stochastic. We want the stochastic to be overbought as much as possible, come up to the level 80, and also we also want the stochastic to be overbought at several time frames, especially the higher ones, because let's take a look at the example today. For let's see here, I have this chart set up already, so let me show you my other chart. I also typed about this in the chat. I asked if you had taken this trade. I know name you took this trade, paper traded it. Okay, so here you will see the level 1.0842. It's 2 secs on mine, but it's a level 42. I've discussed the level 42s before in previous videos. You know, they're important. So how would you know that you should enter a trade here? So let's take a look. Let's examine, analyze the charts together. Let's go to the 4-hour charts. And the first thing you would see before the price came up was that on the left here we had this big drop, right? Big drop here, and you would go further back to the left, you would see there is some support here, some resistance here in this area, again some support here. So, but specifically this huge drop here. And you would also see that stochastic is about to get overbought when it was going up, when it was not completely overbought yet, but you would see it. You would see that it's heading for an overbought position, and you would go back further in the charts and you would see that last time stochastic was overbought on the 4-hour time frame, it was much higher above. See, it was overbought much higher up, and then now today at the arrow it's getting overbought much lower. So still a downtrend, and now you can see that price, the high is clearly under our two EMAs, the 200 and the 50. You see those two EMAs right above the arrow. So now price is trending down. So then you would go to the hourly time frame. You would see the same thing here. You would see that to the left you would see the candlesticks, previous resistance. See the previous resistance to the left. See if I can make this line a bit stronger. There you go. So to the left there, you see the candle drops, the resistance. So you would expect the price to come up and become overbought. Again, you would see the stochastic, and go to a lower time frame. You would see the same thing, the stochastic getting overbought and price coming up to reach previous resistance. So also below the EMA, still at least below the 200 EMA. So any questions? So we have covered stochastic, the moving averages, and also the trends. Stochastic, moving average, trends, and something about news, which was that only focus on the asset that you're trading. If it includes, if the news is includes one of those assets that you trade, then obviously it matters if it's a high impact or medium impact, so be careful. If it's Euro USD, you want to check Euro and USD. If it's USD JPY, the Japanese yen, so you want to look for US dollar and JPY. You don't care about what happens to the euro. And look for high impact and medium impact, and avoid trading for now when there is news, because learn the technicals first, because you need to understand the support, resistance, the trends, the retracements. If you don't understand those, news trading is going to be harder. There are some rules you have to follow if you want to successfully enter trades even after news. Even if you don't trade the news themselves, there are some rules you have to understand about technical analysis before you enter the trade after news. And again, there is an article I wrote about that. It will be out in a few weeks, and as soon as it's out, I will link you guys to it. You will read it, and then we will go through it together. When we stream again on YouTube, I will go through every step, and you can ask questions. So we'll learn about that as well. But for now, just pay attention. Go to Forex Factory every day, right before you start trading. First thing you do, you go to Forex Factory. You look at the assets that are going to be involved, and you just leave Forex Factory open, or just memorize at what times the news are going to come out. If it's high, I get a question about whether the news usually change the trend direction on higher time frames. Well, we have an example here. I mean, you can backtest it for yourself if you open Forex Factory, and you can go back every week and locate those high impact news and see what happened to the chart when they came out. So here's an example. This was a Euro USD news that came out the 21st of January, just last week, and see what happened. This is the hourly time frame. So the question was, would the news change the direction? As you can see, the price was kind of oscillating between moving either above the EMAs or below them. And as soon as news came out, boom, price dropped heavily. So there's your answer. And go to the 4-hour time frame. There you go, the same thing. This was after news. As you can see, prices were lately, before the news, most candles were actually above the 2 EMAs, right? As you can see, there was actually quite good support. Even though price was basically in indecision, they will still, the majority of the candles were above the EMAs. And then when the news came out, the price heavily dropped below the EMAs, and since then it's been below the EMAs still. So it's been in a clear downtrend since then. So you could say that the effect of the news has been going on for more than just an hour or half an hour. This is why it's important that you understand those rules before you trade, that you understand technicals before you trade the news or after the news. So as you can see, the effect of the news are still there. The price is still in a downtrend. It hasn't recovered, and it's not above the EMAs again. So it's been down there. So does that answer your question, Lily? Hello, Rob. I have covered the things that you asked for. You asked about stochastic and trends. I covered them some more this time. I have covered them in previous videos as well, but I went through the EMAs and the stochastic a bit more. And if you still have problems with any of the indicators, go to bots and look for those indicators. You will learn. Even though the article itself is not just about EMAs. Sure. Let me show you here, for example, this article. Okay, here's an article on bots, for example. I just searched in the search box. I just typed moving average, and this is something I found. It's about exponential, the exponential moving average. It's about a strategy, but it doesn't matter because it only uses EMAs and it shows you, yeah, this is what it stands for. So if you have questions about indicators, just come look for them here. For example, let's see stochastic oscillator, see what we find. Here's something about stochastic oscillator, and basically they're used the same way, the level 20 and 80. So most articles you will look, they tell you about the same thing. Here it tells you about stochastic, that it moves between 0 and 100, overbought and oversold levels 20 and 80. And this is exactly the same thing that I covered in this video just a few minutes ago. I talked about how you can use it to determine and confirm trends and areas of support and resistance and potential reversals. Yeah, exactly, the highs and lows basically. So if you have questions regarding indicators, search for them. You will most definitely find them here. So any other questions right now? We have different moving averages, either exponential moving average, smoothed moving average. Let's see, what else do we have? We also have simple and linear. I think most people use the EMA, and I read a study about those, and the EMAs are actually one of the best and most popular, so just stick with the EMA and you'll be okay. And again, rewatch this video. I talked about which EMAs are good, the higher levels are better. You mean the blue and red line with the stochastic? Rob asks about the stochastic, what are the two lines? Is that the question? Okay, so one of them is the %K period and the other one is the D period. So you don't really have to know what they stand for, but if you want the mathematics, I will type you. This is basically the K%, and the D % equals this, but you don't need to know that, and we covered this before you came. I talked about this. You don't need to focus on the two lines. All you need to know is that if you just look at these oversold and overbought areas, you will understand that once the blue line crosses the red line, price is going down, and once the blue line crosses up the red line, the oversold, the prices are going up. So basically that's the only observation you need. So just focus on that and you'll be okay. You don't need to know all the mathematics behind the K and D. Yeah, you don't need the formulas there. It's just basically they're calculating the highs and lows. The H stands for the highs and the L is for the lows. And it's based on what the periods you set. If you set it to 5, 3, 3, and that's the most common stochastic standard settings. Yeah. Also, Investopedia is actually quite good at definitions, at the technical, at the mathematics and stuff. If you search on Investopedia.com, they're quite good with explaining the formulas and stuff like that. But you don't really need to know that, because it's just, unless you're gonna program stuff, you don't need to know that. So if you're not gonna program your own indicators and your own strategies, then you don't need to know that. And if you're a programmer, then I'm sure you don't have problem with learning formulas. So all you need to know is the simple stuff. Like, okay, it shows me where the price is overbought, so I need to look for resistance levels, I need to look for trends. So don't just blindly follow the indicators. Focus on what the charts are telling you and then confirm with the indicator in the second step. So today the trade of the day was at this level here. Unfortunately, I missed this trade bet. This was a good trade here. Previous drops on the Euro USD, the trend is going down. Prices are below the EMAs, the higher level EMAs. So any other questions? I think again you should watch previous videos as well, because many things are explained before, and the more you watch it, the easier it's gonna get to digest, because it's just too many things to learn at once. I need to focus on one or two things. So I think you should just pick one indicator, stochastic, and focus on understanding it. And once you start to understand that, okay, this means overbought and this means oversold, that's when you can move on to the next and try to learn the EMAs. And once you know them, then you try to start drawing resistance lines, support lines, and go to higher time frames, try to see where the trend is, where is price stepping, confirm with the stochastic. Basically the things that I've explained in the videos. Yeah, there is a question. What is it regarding the news? Well, about the stochastic, if you increase the periods, it's gonna give you less signals. It's gonna give you less overbought and oversold positions. You can try that. You can just try that. Go to your MetaTrader. Don't be afraid of trying out stuff, so long as it's on a demo. So if you wonder why that is, so you go to your MetaTrader. I'm gonna set it up now, so you will see. Let's see if I can show you. Here you see this. I set it to 15, 6, and 9. Was it, you said? Yes. Okay, so let's see what happens. Now I don't have those overbought, oversold positions. I get them rarely. So you get less false signals. But you might also miss some positions that would be a good opportunity. I like the 5-3-3. I'm used to using the standard settings, so I'm okay with those. So regarding the news, again, if you don't know how to interpret the news, you should not trade it for now. I explained earlier in the video about news trading. What you need to do is just go to Forex Factory, see what kind of assets you're trading, which asset you're trading, and set your preferences on Forex Factory. Are you trading Euro USD? Then you should look for Euro USD on Forex Factory. Is it news? Then avoid trading if it's a high impact or medium impact news coming out. Avoid trading because you have no idea what's gonna happen unless you start learning. And we're gonna cover news trading in a few weeks. I'm just waiting for the article I wrote to come out, and we will discuss it once everyone have read it. And meanwhile, practice on the technicals first, because if you don't understand the technicals, it's going to be difficult to do news as well. Because some of the things that happen in the after the news, they relate to technicals as well. And you will see why once you understand how to do technicals. So focus on the technicals for now. When you are new, we will do news later. And one more thing about MetaTrader I would want to talk about. MetaTrader, I saw some people had difficulties. Don't be afraid to just click on things on MetaTrader. I mean, this is how you learn stuff. If you don't click on things, you're not going to learn. So don't just wait for someone to hold your hands. Just click on, just try right clicking. You know, it's just like any other Windows application. So just click on it and see, oh look, what does this do? And you try to see the properties. What is this? Oh yeah, look, I can change colors. And if you right click and oh, you can't see it because the program doesn't show it, but if you would right click on the chart, for example, you can go to template, and you can save your template. Basically means you can save this chart and you can upload this chart on any other currency pair or any other asset. And you also have at the top left, you have the windows, the tools, the charts, the insert tab. You can insert indicators. You can save the profile, the entire settings of your MetaTrader under profile, and profile save as, and you can save your profile. So don't be afraid of trying out, clicking around a little bit on MetaTrader and learning. And there's something I've noticed with MetaTrader is that if you don't close it, for example, if I would to draw a line here and I would turn off my computer, this line is going to disappear. But if I draw a line and close MetaTrader before I turn off my computer, it's going to save the lines. But also try to learn how to save your templates. It's important because sometimes your computer is going to crash and you might have not been able to close down MetaTrader, so it's not going to save your settings. So now and then try to save your template so you won't lose any data. About the quality, I could stream in HD, but I think there will be more lag. And you can check the other videos before and see if there are let me see. No, it's the 720. Unfortunately, it uploads directly from the broadcast application, so if I upload in 720, it's gonna be 720 and not higher. I do that because I don't want it to be laggy. And the values, those are the ones I usually type in the chat. So the one I wrote today was the 420, so that's the value I talked about today. I usually give you the values because I know it's hard to see, so if I forget, just remind me. And I've shared my other charts as well before. So any other questions? Those are just tests. This is the one important today is the 42 level. You can set it like this, it's easier. Just go to right click on the line and then go to horizontal line properties and then go to parameters and type in the value. Just copy paste the value I gave you and you will get the line exactly where I have it. No problem. Right guys, talk to you on the chat later. Let me know if there is anything, and please rewatch the old videos if you have any questions, because I've covered trends and support resistance lines before. So take a look and let me know. And let me know about future topics. You can always let me know. It's better if you type in the CommuniTraders thread, and please check that thread from time to time, because it's there I announce when I'm gonna do the next session. So you can type and ask about, give some feedback about future discussions, future topics, and you would also know when the next session is gonna be. Okay, thanks guys.